I'm so very excited. And again, I feel like I'm right here. I told you, said, get your favorite cup and hang out with me because you can't be in New Orleans just yet. And I can't be in California, but we will for sure.
Absolutely.
And so I want to just take this little time right now with my sweet friend Tana and welcome everyone who's joining us. And we have had an amazing month. Thank you for being a part of. You are a woman of hope. You really are, Tana. I love when you will share something and you'll say, join us at Women of Hope, because it's really who you are. And, it's what we're doing. We're locking arms with other women. And it's what I'm doing in my lane. It's what you're doing in your lane. And we're bringing every other woman to lock arms of what they're gifted in, their talents and their treasure. And we lock arms, and it's finding the gold in them, right? Locking arms with them.
And I've been so blessed, Tracy. I just did want to tell you, you were just there for me at, when all of this started, and it was such a hard time. And I sort of lost my church community and I was feeling a little lost through all of this. And you're like, oh, join us on our Zoom prayer group. And I thought, it was such a good idea. You just jumped right in and you helped so many women who were just struggling during this time. And, it's what we tell people with, their health and their brain health. Focus on what you can do, not on what you can't do. And that's what we're doing right now is, we're focusing on what we can do to help people and not on what we can't do. Right. So
good. So this month we tried a little bit different with the videos, the Instagram videos, and getting questions. So we do have some questions. And then for anyone, we want to invite them to put comments, questions. We're going to have a giveaway. One is Tana is amazing book we're going to give away later, which we want to hear a little bit more from you on that. And so listen, you go with it and begin to just share what's on your heart and just, the brain nuggets. I've been getting women responding and saying this. They love the videos because whether they're in business or whether they're a mom at home, these shorter videos, they can listen and they can grab something for that day. And it's so good. So let's do it again. Let's do it now.
Absolutely. So I don't know. I know we told people we were going to send out questions. And so hopefully we've got some questions from people. I know one of the things that we said we were going to address was boundaries, which on my page is always a big thing. Boundaries and forgiveness always seem to be a big topic for people. And it certainly was in mine. So one of the gifts we're going to give away is my book, The Relentless Courage of a Scared Child.
Yay.
I will warn you ahead of time. It's gritty. It is a story of faith and overcoming, but it's a story of someone who struggled with faith and overcoming. And there was a lot of difficulty in forgiving in that book, and why it's so important for us to forgive for ourselves as much as it is for the other person. So whenever I post about that, so many women struggle with this, or people struggle with this. Yes. And one of the things they say is the other person doesn't deserve it. I can't let go of it because they don't deserve it. It feels like I'm letting them off the hook. And it can feel like that. But the truth is, when you do that, you're punishing yourself. And we weren't designed to do that. The reason God doesn't want us to do that and hold on to that anger and that hatred and that all of that pain is because it's punishing us. It's punishing us as much as it's punishing the other person, plus he's forgiven us. And so when you begin to realize, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. It's like, why are you, if you can't do it for them, can you at least start by doing it for you? And when you begin to see it that way, it starts to look a little bit different. Also, people think it's a one-time thing. It's like, oh, I have to forgive this person and then it's done. No, it's a daily practice. Just like love, it's a feeling, but it's more of an action. Well, forgiveness, yes. It's a feeling, but it's an action. So that's my recommendation to people. Yes. Is don't think it's a one-time thing. Wake up and have grace with yourself, but be firm and kind with yourself. It's like, wake up and go, okay, I don't feel like it today. Well, okay, if your kids don't feel like doing their homework, you still have to do their homework. You wake up and you go, I don't feel like doing this today, but I'm going to do it.
And Tana, even you saying that right now, we talk about the brain nuggets for our initiative, mental and brain health. Yes, it's throughout the year. Yes, it's every day of the year and every year. But hearing you say that about do it for yourself, like that right there is a brain nugget. Mm-hmm. Because we do for so many other people. And if we begin right there, talk about the airplane, you got to take care of you to take care of someone else when they talk about the oxygen, the mask. But you saying that is, do it for yourself is a brain nugget for everybody to grab. And from there, it's giving yourself the okay to say, I'm doing this for me. And then it just makes forgiveness a whole lot easier. And
Absolutely.
then just the benefits of that. And so, you know, I love it. And there are people that want to hear more on the boundaries, different boundaries, and one for yourself and relationships and things, and what that looks like, how healthy, you know, what is a healthy boundary? And like you said, you're helping yourself, but you're helping other people and you're helping the relationships. And so keep going. I want to hear some more. I know we all
So I
do.
want to lead into it with forgiveness and boundaries are actually connected. I read the most interesting article recently that part of why, it's just part of it, but part of why people have a hard time forgiving is because they have a hard time drawing boundaries. That they use anger when they've been hurt, they're using anger as a barrier against being hurt again because they don't know how to draw healthy boundaries. Since they don't know how to draw healthy boundaries and tell people, I love you, but you can't do that. I love you, but you're not going to hurt me anymore. Since they don't know how to do that, they just get angry and like hold on to this bitterness because that pushes people away. So it's really not as much this inability to forgive as it is, I need to hold on to that to protect myself. It's a protective reflex. When in fact, if they could learn how to draw healthy boundaries, they wouldn't need to do that. So boundaries are really important for so many reasons in our lives. And when you can't do that, if you can't draw healthy boundaries for yourself and for your family and for so many other reasons, for work, for all these other things, and you're holding on to anger and you can't forgive, it's all connected, then you're not the best parent you can be. You're not the best partner you can be. You're not the best spouse. You're not the best employee you can be. You're not the best you that you can be. So it really starts with that. And one of the things that I often tell people when I'm coaching them is boundaries start with you. You've got to have healthy boundaries with yourself first. If you can't show up for yourself, if you can't show up and do what you say you're going to do for yourself, and it starts small, right? Start small. But if you can't do that and follow through with the things that you need to do, then how are you going to do it with other people? So it starts with you.
So good. It is so good. We you know, think about the brain nugget of your brain matters, our thoughts matter, our reactions matter. You know, one of the things that I've learned, and I'm learning as well more and more, is like you're saying, it's okay to say, it's the way we say some things. It's inviting them into another way of having this conversation, whether it just, this doesn't work for me,
Right.
or I'm not available for that, whatever it might be, because your husband talks about, and you talk about from tantrums, and we talk about what, you know, what does that look like? Because we can have an adult conversation with one another, and just to hear each other out and be able to not go down these, or as your husband says about the dragons, you know, and just be able to react in certain ways, but really help the relationship, but be able to respond in a way that's really, since I've gotten my brain scan and see from last June being out there with you and Dr. Amen, your brain will say one thing on paper that
Yep.
you're actually living a different way, but you want to know why something keeps reoccurring, or why you're not able to make some changes or progress, you
Right.
know, and they're simple, they're brain nuggets, but they're skills, they're things that we can keep learning and growing and doing. So one of the questions was, let's see, I think I sent you a couple of them, and I'd love you to just share, you know, as they come up, and I'm looking to see if we have some questions coming in as well. But what would you suggest for a woman who is putting in the work to renew her mind daily, set appropriate boundaries, and yet feels like she's failing due to stress or hormonal imbalance or other factors?
Okay, so none of us are immune from this. I actually want to give you, you know, we look at Instagram and we think, oh, I'm going to follow this person because they're so perfect and they've got it all together. So I'm going to share something very personal and vulnerable with you right now. None of us are immune to this. So I've been labeling myself lately because we slip into this without even thinking about it. And I've got a lot of skill because this is what I do every day, right? And I live with like a master at this. So, and we do this together as a partnership. But even so, the pandemic started. I had a back injury right before the pandemic started. I wasn't going to my normal gym. I wasn't practicing karate, which I normally love to practice. And I'm going through this menopausal thing. Okay, so all of this happens all at once. And I'm still doing all my stuff. I'm going through the motions. So like this woman is saying, I'm going through the motions. I'm focusing on meditation and prayer. I'm exercising every day. I'm doing everything I need to do. But my self-talk, I started to notice, and it sounded innocuous enough. It sounded innocent enough. But I started to hear myself saying, I'm a middle-aged mom. And I would say it jokingly. I am a middle-aged mom, right? But I would say this jokingly, and pretty soon I realized, my workouts go from being like karate and being very intense and doing, HIIT training, and to I'm watching Netflix with the kids, and I'm moving my body, but I'm not moving with the same intention. I'm not moving with the same passion. I'm not doing the same thing. I'm doing the same motion, but my brain isn't doing the same thinking. I don't have the same intention. I don't have the same intensity, and I don't have the same passion. And a friend called me out on it. So a friend of mine heard this self-talk I have, and he said, your problem isn't what you're doing, it's how you're doing it. Mm-hmm. He's like, listen to you. He's like, you have adapted to your environment. I want you to hear this. You've adapted to your environment. Mm-hmm. So this is a person who was SWAT for 18 years. And so he's like, if I did that, my life would depend on it. So I can't adapt to being in quarantine. I have to still train like my life depends on it. He's like, so you've adapted to being a middle-aged mom watching Netflix while you work out. So just going through the motions isn't enough. So that's why I had adopted this mindset of being a warrior, a brain warrior, because I like the idea of being a warrior. Now, quarantine was hard for all of us. We all sort of like dropped the ball in so many ways. And I always told people, have grace with yourself. But I want you to hear this. Have grace with yourself, but be firm and kind. Would you allow your children to just like give in to everything? No. So be firm and kind with yourself. And I thought, you know what? That's what a good friend does. They call you out. He called me out, and I went, you know what? You are absolutely right. So this morning I put on inspiring music. I got up. I have this crazy tank thing that I pulled out of the garage, dusted it off. I did my battle ropes. I did my sprints. I did all this crazy stuff. And I felt completely different. I shut off Netflix, and I'm like, because intention matters. Focus matters. Whether you're a prayer warrior, whether you're a mom warrior, whether you're a business warrior, I don't care what it is you're doing. It's your intention and your focus matters as well, because motion is going to translate into emotion. How you move your body, the way you move your body matters. If you're moving sort of slow and sluggish, like you're watching Netflix, or you're moving, is going to translate into how you feel. And I feel totally different today than I did yesterday. So I'm not immune to it any more than all of you are. So get up today, move. I know it's like, maybe it's later in your time zone. Get up and do some jumping jacks and like yell really loud and put on some inspiring music. You're going to feel completely different.
My trainer that I use told me that she has this 70-year-old, I think it's 70, maybe 75 young. And she said she comes in and she tells her, motion is lotion.
Yes.
And if you think about that from your body to your brain, we'd say what we're taking in or what we're doing, because it just what you said, get up. It can change that whatever that moment is, because we all have it. We do have those moments, but it's we can help ourselves. And when you said brain warrior, I love, like, there's so many books that you've written that I love, and your new one that I'm highly encouraging to everyone, because this is how I've told you before, is thank you for your life's journey, for being vulnerable and being transparent, which we love so much, as if you are all of our friends. But there are so many areas of your life that speak to so many women. There's so many different areas. So for you to be that encourager, for you to be, which we love, my friends and I, we love the warrior, but you're from your The Warrior's Way, the book, and the cookbook. And loving that. My daughter and I have been pulling that out because we want some yummy treats that are healthy. Right. And then we're looking for, just you get in a rut, like a little rut of a food rut, right? That you're looking for something new. Then as well as for our brain and our body. And, you are the health. I mean, just the New York Times, from the writing the books to the health and fitness. And so you just cover so many different areas of a woman's life. And so I just want to tell you right now, thank you for that. And I encourage everyone to check it out, because all the different things you do. But your new book that I have had the honor and privilege to be able to read is just, again, just overcoming. It is the word relentless. And I think I was listening to something, and I sent you, it was a podcast, and they were talking about, it was really the relentless, that God is relentless. His love is.
Absolutely.
And it reminded me of you having titled it, The Relentless Courage, of a scared child.
Thank you.
And yeah, and so encouraging and so powerful.
One thing I want to, if I could just say, I love that you're saying all these things and you're lifting me up, and I love that. But it's funny, as I'm listening to you say that, I in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, wow, because you inspire me. And so I love this because, all these women are listening and watching right now, and it's, rising tide floats all boats. But yeah, I'm really good in a lot of areas of my life. I'm really good at working. I feel like I'm good at parenting. I feel like I'm good at working out. There are things I'm good at. I struggle when it comes to, I struggle when it comes to staying focused with, like, I don't feel as strong if I don't have my tribe, my community, when it comes to my spiritual walk. So that's where I look at you and I'm like, wow, you're just like so on top of it. You are so strong as this spiritual warrior. And so I know I need that in my life. And so I surround myself, I try to draw people like that into my life, because that can falter for me when I get busy with other stuff. So that's one of my tips, I think, for people is community matters. The people you surround yourself with matter, because people are contagious. And if you are weak in an area, or that that's not your best strength, those are the people you need to find. So I have mentors in my life. I think one of them joined our prayer group one night. She's one of my spiritual mentors in my area. I know that that's an area that if I'm not careful, I can get sucked away from it. I can get pulled away from it. So monitor yourself, take inventory and go, I need a mentor in this area. And you are just like an amazing mentor in that area. So I love that you have these, these prayer meetings and these live chats for women to be able to follow.
And isn't that amazing? Like, even hearing you say that back to me, because I do it afraid, or I'll do it nervous, or you just do it. And what's so great is we just step out. Yeah. And then that's where God, he just does amazing things through us. But it's giving back just what happened, just that moment right there. I encourage every person listening that will hear, is when you said find those friends, because we don't always see that in ourselves. We know, like you said, know things that you're good at, but when you give that back to a friend, you're pulling out the gold in them. That's what we just did there, pulling out the gold in one another and planting that seed, sealing that even more. It's like, okay, that's what we want around us. We want the community. We want the women, the friends that bring us to the higher level. And I saw some of that. They were texting and commenting is, a friend that will call you out, a friend that will do it in love and say, no, that's not who you are. Right. That's not who you are. That's what you're going.
You don't need to beat yourself up for not being great at everything. Just surround yourself with people who can actually pull you up, right? People are contagious. If you're an alcoholic, don't go hang out at a bar. Hang out with people who are going to keep you sober, right? So that's what we're really trying to say. If your spiritual walk is something that you want to be stronger, then hang out with people who are spiritually strong. If you need to work out, your spiritual walk is great, but working out is not your strength, then hang out with people who know how to do that. So just be willing to be honest with yourself.
Yes. And so I did see a comment, and I'm going to give it to you. Okay. I'm going to consider it a question. And it said, do they exist? And it's a question mark. And I would have to say that person's asking, do they exist? Do women like that exist? When we began Women of Hope Unite, as well as what you're doing, when we connect with women, what women are used to is can pull you down, can gossip, cannot find the gold in you. So I took that as, do they exist? Like, yes, they do exist. Yeah. And I just encourage just what we're doing. I mean, first of all, our paths, just the way, we just don't stop. We just keep connecting, and God divinely sets friendships, but then you go after them, and you just continually seek after people that they're not telling you what you want to hear, but what's inside of them is we're all working on this. We're all journeying through life, and we're all trying to be stronger or be the encourager. I just say to tell my kids, I'm sure you've done this too, be what you need.
Yep.
You need to be encouraged, encourage. You need a friend, be that friend. You need compassion, give the compassion. And that's how we find those women, because you give it and you find it. The other, we just
and
love.
people are not going to be perfect. They're going to sometimes disappoint you. What's that?
Yes. I didn't say anything. I'm saying yes.
Oh, I lost you for a second.
Oh, yes.
I lost you for 1 second.
You got me?
Yeah. So people are not going to be perfect. They're going to disappoint you once in a while. I love the saying that I heard in church one time. It's like people always complain that churches are full of hypocrites. And the pastor said, well, if you find one that doesn't have any, you should probably leave because you'll ruin it. Because we're all hypocrites, right? We all do things that sometimes hurt people's feelings, that sometimes aren't, we say something stupid, we put our foot in our mouth. And the best thing you can do is recognize it in yourself and apologize. We're not going to say the perfect thing, but if you're constantly trying to be a better person, if you're constantly trying to lift people up, then that's not a fatal flaw. If it's to a point where you are a negative person and you are continuously hurting people, that's different. That's a different thing. If there's someone who's constantly violating your boundaries, who is constantly saying mean things, and it's with intention, then you need to reconsider your friendships, right? You need to find, because both exist. There are people who are toxic. There are people who are loving and kind. And so you need to find those people and surround yourself with that, people who lift you up. But just because someone says something that is not perfect one time does not mean you ditch your friends. You just
absolutely. So here's something I want to go to for a moment, if we could, because I love it. I love it. So we talk about, people talk about, what are you saying for the day? What is your mantra? What is your declaration? What is your, confession? What are you saying for the day? And so I want to take us back for a moment, let you share on that more about what are we saying? Like, what do I want to see today? It's not faking it. It's not, it's being on purpose of taking my brain, the chemistry of my brain for that day. And I may not feel like it. I may not, it may be the reality of the day or the situation. But I love when you say a particular thing, it's going to be a great day. Or what do I want today to look like? The chemistry side of that, the science side of that says your brain has to go look for it. I love that so much. And so just for us women,
it's called positivity bias training. So your brain is hardwired to actually look for the negative. So your brain is hardwired to pay attention to what's scary, frightening, harmful, because it's a survival mechanism, right? So we had to run from tigers. We had to pay attention to all these things. We weren't safe for so long. So it's hardwired to do that. But you can train it to do the opposite. So my husband, wakes up in the morning and he always says, today is going to be a great day. He literally gets out of bed and says, today is going to be a great day. I like questions because questions are the answer. So I wake up and the first thing I do is I think of what I'm grateful for. I open the blinds and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful outside. I'm thankful for my home. I'm thankful for my family. I think of a couple things I'm grateful for. But then the next thing I do is I take that, today is going to be a great day, and I switch it to a question. Why is today going to be a great day? Because your brain has no choice but to start to look for answers. It's got no choice but to start to look for answers. So then at the end of the day, when we have dinner together as a family, we will go around the table and it's like, what went well today? Or what was your favorite part of the day? And that's what we do. And it literally, you are so correct, Tracy. It changes your brain chemistry. It forces your brain. So when every single thought you have during the day releases chemicals in your body and in your brain. So you're either releasing stress hormones or you are releasing hormones that are actually uplifting and make your body happy and healthy. So every thought you have releases chemicals. The question is, which ones do you want to release all day long? We don't want to be releasing those stress hormones because they're actually toxic. They cause disease. They actually lower your immunity. During a time during COVID, you don't want your immune system lower, right? You want your immune system high. So that's why you want to be practicing those things, in addition to the fact that they just make you happy.
And on that stress hormone, I love that you're saying that cortisol, that high cortisol. That goes into, can you share on from our happy, your serotonin, your dopamine, when that cortisol's high, it impacts so many other areas of your body, the hormones of your body, correct? That we need.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you have cortisol, you actually have a few stress hormones that when you get really stressed out, cortisol, adrenaline, there's a few of them. When you're really stressed out, they're designed to be there in that fight moment. You need to run from a tiger, but they're supposed to calm down. But they're not supposed to be there all the time. But if they're constantly elevated, then what ends up happening is your body's in a constant state of fight. It's in a constant state of that sympathetic reaction. And that's what's bad, because that's what ends up that's what ends up affecting your body in a negative way that causes your immunity to be reduced. It also increases your risk of heart attack, cancer, I mean, all sorts of awful, ugly things. So it makes you miserable, and it affects you, it impacts your brain in a very negative way. So that's why, so we've done like over and over and over again, you'll hear people say, what's the best thing you can do? Meditation, prayer, right? Even in the Bible, it constantly says to meditate day and night, right? So it says that over and over. Why? Because it settles down all those chemicals. It sounds like so rote. It sounds like we just keep saying this, like it's not really a big deal. No, it really does work like that. It settles down all those chemicals. Prayer and meditation are one of the best things you can do to settle down cortisol and adrenaline.
There you have it, ladies, right there. Here's a question coming from a young lady, is codependent. And I know that goes right in there with the boundaries, but she says, how, give it to you right here. She says, how and where do I start? I'm raging codependent. And I know that goes right in there with the boundaries.
So, I mean, that can get really complicated as far as understanding why she's codependent. You know, I grew up in a very chaotic and traumatic environment growing up. My mom was very codependent. I would venture to say she's still a little codependent. It made me kind of the opposite, but my mom can't disconnect from that. So understanding why someone is the way they are is really important. I don't know if this person has the ability to get professional help. That would be my strong suggestion. So having a type of therapy called EMDR can be very helpful to help you disconnect from whatever trauma may have happened that made you that way, that caused you to start to react that way. Also, the book called Boundaries by John Townsend and Henry Cloud. That's a great book. I love that book. It really helps you to understand why boundaries are so important and teaches you how to start to draw healthy boundaries without feeling like you're hurting people, without feeling guilty. That's an awesome book. So John Townsend is actually a neighbor of ours, and he's just an awesome human being. So I strongly recommend that if you can't go get professional help, that's probably one of the places I would start.
So what I'd be able to say, that if people are making comments and if they want to message you, get some, you know, just different things they're commenting on, whether it's about your book and different things you're sharing, you know, again, there's a part of us that the professional help, highly, highly recommend. There's always somebody around you. There's someone that you can connect to, and as well as starting with helping yourself first and saying, I matter, right? And like Tana's saying, is help yourself. And there are ways. And so we're going to send out some different things after this. I would like to just, let's see, hang on. Yeah, just looking to see a few more questions, because we're going to we'll announce a giveaway later. It'll be Tana's book. And
I'll
then
send a signed copy.
Yes, a signed copy. Love that. I'd love that. And you know what I encourage is reading it with a friend. And, you know, it's hard to get everything in a seating, or even just as you're reading, you bounce it off of one another, you know, and you grow, because it does. It's a garden of life. It's our garden of our brain. And we get to plant these seeds, and it's hard to take everything in. You know, it's like the little rudder that's turning that big ship. But we just start, even where Tana's saying, and forgiveness is huge. One, forgiving yourself, one, forgiving others. And gosh, there's so much that we could grow from. What would be something else that's on your heart to share on a brain nugget? What else? Tell us something else.
So one thing I think the place, I'm reading some of the comments, and they're saying, I know this, but I don't put it into practice. I've read this, you know, great book. I don't put it into practice. Firm and kind, firm and kind, and think of having boundaries with yourself sort of like parenting. So I think of this like parenting. So we parent in a way that's firm and kind. So would you allow your child to, if you knew that they were doing something destructive to themselves, to just do it just because? It's like, well, I know they shouldn't be doing it, but I'm just, yeah, whatever. Doesn't really matter. No, right? So if you think of that with yourself, it's like firm and kind. It's like, I know I need to be doing this. Well, yeah. So it's, you want to have grace with yourself, but don't just allow, you know, this like inner child, if you will, I'm going to use that term just for lack of a better term, to run wild, to just run amok through your house. No, put some boundaries around it. It's like, I know I need to be doing this. So today I'm going to take one step. Maybe I'm not ready to jump in all the way, but put some boundaries around yourself. Be firm and kind with yourself. You need to actually be honest with yourself and make sure that you are not just allowing yourself to not implement some of these things, because if you don't, then no one else is going to either.
That's good. That is so good, my friend. So powerful. Okay, so any more questions we have coming? Questions for my sweet, precious friend Tana. Again, you know, we are going to continue to share all these. Tana gave us some great, some little videos that you can just listen to on your way anywhere in your busy day. You can follow, I'd love you to follow Tana Amen and connect through there, through Facebook and through her Instagram. And also connect with Women of Hope Unite. We'd love to have you to connect here with us women, because we are about building life-giving relationships. We are about finding the gold in one another, finding the passion that inspires you, the injustice that angers you, to make a difference for women, for generations to come. And that's what Tana's doing. And we thank you for that. We're so grateful for everything that you do. We thank you for your friendship. Thank you for partnering with us. And we're here. We're here we're going to grow together. We're going to grow in our mental and brain health. We're going to grow, and we're not going to grow in the black belt. I don't know that that's going to happen, but we definitely can grow in a lot of ways. And, you know, Tana, you take so great care of yourself in the fitness and the eating. And I've got people trying to still get in here. So I'm not sure, but we'll send it. It's going to keep going on. And that's what's so great. We get to keep sharing it. And so, okay. So if you were going to, you've got this stage here. We've got this living room of social media. I love that. And if you were going to speak to all the women, but just as it's your personal friend, and you want to cheer her up, coach her up, be her best friend, and just tell her, go to her heart that gets to her head and says, what would you say to her right now, as before we close? What would you want to say to her wherever she is? Because everybody's on a different journey. We're all in a different place on that journey. And so what would you want to say to her for her to take away today? There's so many great things, but what would be a great takeaway for her as a woman who, knowing your journey of where you've come from and where you are today, and it's a good place, you know, and you're still growing, and I love that. You'll keep growing, but what would you want to say to her?
So I think because I know because of what we do with our mental health clinics, I know how hard this past year has been for so many people as far as their mental health. It's been a very difficult year for so many people. I think the thing I would tell people is, you know, as someone who has been in that place where I didn't think life was worth living in my 20s, I couldn't see a purpose. I thought I was wasting oxygen on the planet. I think what I would really want people to know is you absolutely don't know what God can do with your life. Now I know that God didn't make that happen, but I think he is using it. There's no way I could have known that all the stuff I went through, that horrible time, would be the thing. My pain back then, my trauma back then would be what I use to help people with transformation today. Would it be my purpose today to help people with transformation? And you just don't know what's possible. So please don't give up hope. So Women of Hope Unite, please don't give up hope, because you just don't know what's possible tomorrow. Right around the corner could be that one thing where you can turn your pain into purpose.
I'm sorry. I didn't.
That was so cute.
Something on the computer, but anyway, it's always.
That was darling. So I think that would be the thing I would tell people, just because it's been such a difficult year. And, you know, I almost didn't write my book because it's too personal. And I thought, why do I need to share this with people? Me getting help doesn't mean I need to share it with everybody. And I had a woman from Nigeria come up to me at a conference when I was with my husband, and she started crying just out of the blue. She's like, I was hoping you'd be here. And she said, I pray every day that God will do for my life what he's done for yours. If you can do it, I can do it. And that was my motivation to write my book. I hadn't even told that much about my story at that point. And I thought, you know what? Sharing your story, being vulnerable, can transform someone else's life. So what you're going through right now, all that pain, journal it, write it down. You just don't know where it might take you tomorrow, how it might transform someone else's life that desperately needs it. So just hang on. God's going to use
that's
you.
powerful. And when I asked you that question, the first words that came to me was, don't give up.
Don't give up.
Give up. And you saying, don't lose hope. Don't give up hope. Don't give. Yeah. Keep hope. And, right here with the social media, or so many things. I mean, you and Dr. Amen are a wealth of information and a wealth of knowledge and skills, and the practice, the very, very intellectual, all, but practical. But there's, you can find something. You can set your phone to something. You can, that's what's coming to me, right? It's just that you can. And, I remember when you came to me, we'd met, and you'd said to me, and I was so honored, humbled and honored about reading your script. This was before it was going to come out, and there were things you were processing through.
I was nervous about it.
Because, it's your life written in a book.
And it's not, it's still the family-friendly version, but it's still very gritty. And I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this coming out.
And it's real and it's vulnerable. And when you've gone through a tough time in life, which we all do, you've kind of journeyed through people hurting you, picking you apart, judging, whatever. So do I really want to open myself to that? And what I say, and I don't have the book sitting, I was going to hold it up in your book and say, thank you again, because thank you again that you pressed through that. That's that do it afraid. What do we have to fear of man? Mm-hmm. But what you said is so powerful, is what we've been through and our story or our trauma. I'm seeing different things of people saying past trauma. I do EMDR from past trauma of things. It's so incredible.
I love it.
Done it as well. And it's just so powerful. And so it brings you to another, it's healing the brain. But to press through all that, press through it, because there is someone that needs to hear your story. And when that thought comes, who wants to hear my story or my story? Not good.
Why else are we here? Why else are we here?
Begin to do the questioning that the Amens teach, right? Begin to do the questioning and just question, challenge your own thought, your own question, is that true? By the time you get to, it's the ants, right? The automatic negative thoughts when it comes, and challenge that thought, challenge your thought. And so I know I've heard this said before. I don't know, you probably could be able to share with them, but it's like you can live without this long from water or food.
Right. 3 days without water.
Your thoughts are with you.
Without food. Right.
I don't know, a few seconds, you have a new thought. Right. Everything is all this, and I don't know how many of their thoughts they're on a day, but so I think that's one of the most important things right there is exactly, mental and brain health. We have many nuggets in here today. I just give you the biggest hug. And I adore you. And thank you so much, Tana. And
I love you, Tracy. Thank
you. We're going to send this out. We're going to share. We're going to impact women and more women for generations to come. And we get to take our brain health back. It's not that
Absolutely.
It is, and I've got to live with this. No, we don't.
I wish all these comments were not going to disappear. I want to read them all now. They disappear now. So I'm so sad. Okay. I wish people would go back and leave questions and comments after we're done.
No, that would be great. Because
I want to be able to read them, and now that Instagram does a thing where they all disappear at the end of this, which makes me sad. So
so I would say what we would do, I think would be really great, is to go on to Tana's Instagram, Women of Hope Unite.
Yeah,
we'll wind up doing another giveaway.
Yeah.
Go and comment if you've made a comment, because we want it. Your comment matters.
Yeah.
matters. And so go and re-comment it where it will be on the Instagram from today. I believe that's how we would do it, right?
Yeah,
And you're right, they do disappear. And they're just really awesome.
they're
And
really great. Yeah.
share it again because we love you. We happen to be the two that get to host here today for you, and bring my sweet friend, amazing Tana Amen to you. But we'd love to grow with you. We'd love to encourage you. Tana is so real and so genuine, and that I see you. I watch things on your Instagram where you go back and you respond to them, and it's so powerful. It's just awesome. It's like if they were getting us just sit and have a cup of coffee or tea with you. And so there are some really great comments and things. So from Women of Hope Unite, from Tana Amen, the relentless, we're speaking over you today, relentless courage from a scared child, and
Thanks, Tracy.
get to see what God can do through every one of your life. But your book cover, for everyone out there, it's got a title. It's your story.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll just show it. And I'm going to send, we're going to give away a signed copy. So yeah.
Love it. Love it. So love you guys. Thank you so much, my sweet friend. And
Thank you, Tracy. It was so much fun.
we love you dearly. Okay.
Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you, honey.
Okay. Bye-bye.